Well, hello, everyone. Hello. This is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. You are all in tonight with me, Alexandra Levine. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to my friend Donald Willinger and a lot of people watching me from all over the country and the world. And today we give thanks to our veterans. Let's put up the image. Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to everyone, the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard. I dedicate my show tonight to my World War II veteran grandfather who served in the Air Corps in the Philippines in Manila for 5 years. Thank you to everyone that has served. And we will always honor our veterans, whether they are still with us or whether they are currently serving in our nation and overseas. Well, breaking news tonight, breaking news. Senator Dick Durbin from Illinois, who actually voted with the Republicans, admitted on the Senate floor yesterday that the Democrat colleagues kept the government shut down to protest President Trump's policies. I repeat, Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois admitted that his Democrat colleagues kept the government shut down to protest President Trump's policies. And Senator Angus King, who's an independent who voted with the Republicans, he said today, standing up to President Trump didn't work. Well, gee, you think? President Trump called this the Schumer shutdown. There's a reason why. Because Senator Dick Durbin and Angus King and Jackie Shaheen and Jackie Rosen and many others, they finally admitted that they could not keep the government shut down and protest President Trump anymore because they have something called constituents, people that voted for them, people that were suffering. And remember, the second in command under Hakeem Jeffries, she said, we're using people as leverage. We know that we're suffering. We want them to suffer because we're using them as leverage. And Speaker Johnson kept playing that video, that interview over and over and over again in front of his office. I mean, this is real life stuff, guys. I mean, how can you support Democrats at this point? If you're a Democrat, why would you want to be a Democrat? I'd switch parties immediately because it proves that the Democrat Party is the party of conniving, backdoor deals, and they work with rhinos too to facilitate your pain. And the Democrats are the reason why SNAP benefits were cut too, for people that are suffering. But President Trump won the day. President Trump is the reason why the government will be shut down. And as soon as tomorrow, the House will go back into session, they will vote. And guess what? That bill goes straight to President Trump's desk where he will sign it and he will reopen this government. Again, make America great again and keep America great. And President Trump kept his promises on this. He said, we're not going to expand the ACA, which is Obamacare, which is horrible. As you know, I'm a life and health insurance agent. I'm currently in open enrollment right now. So many people are asking me for insurance because they don't want ACA. They want private health care. Also, President Trump kept his promise and he said, we will never give health care to illegals because it's illegal to do so. Again, as a licensed healthcare professional, I will never put my license on the line and do something illegal and give healthcare to illegals because it's illegal. I would never. And any healthcare professional that does that should go directly to jail. Not only lose their license, but go directly to jail. Why are illegals being taken care of better than American citizens? It's not fair and it's not right. So thank you, President Trump, again, for keeping your promises. Thank you to the many people that worked hard to making sure that we didn't give in to the stupid Democrats and what they wanted in regards to expanding Obamacare and giving healthcare to illegals. It's disgusting. It's disgusting to think that that is the Democrat agenda. And again, this will propel us into the 2026 midterms. And President Trump is looking at who he can trust to put in local offices, in gubernatorial races, and in federal races. Who are going to be the men and women that are going to back and support his agenda? Because his agenda is thriving. And anyone who tries to go up against President Trump ultimately loses. And let's put up this next slide that President Trump said. This is also yesterday. I can proofread for you. It talks about air traffic control. As you know, there's so many delays at the airports, cancellations left and right. People are nervous because they're getting ready to travel for Thanksgiving and Christmas and other holidays. President Trump said that anybody who stayed on and worked during the government shutdown will get an extra $10,000 bonus, and they will get total back pay when the government is reopened. But people that did take off, and people that threw up their arms, and people that were combating President Trump, it won't bode well for them. But Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, is doing everything he can to give people their pay. He even said, I would love to give you the money, but I don't have access to it. He would love to pay the TSA people and the air traffic controllers. And the audacity of Pete Buttigieg, who is the start of all this mess, for blaming Sean Duffy for this. I love how Sean Duffy responded to him and said, you were the cause of this, dude. I'm cleaning up your mess. So people that are nervous, people that work at NASA, people that work for the government, I know you're still nervous. I know you're afraid. I know it's been very tough, especially for your family, but your money is coming. The minute that the government reopens, your money will come. Back pay is on its way. And yes, this is the longest government shutdown we've ever had. Hopefully we don't have to go through this again. But the blame is not President Donald J. Trump. The blame is Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. And the blame does go to the 8 Democrats, even though they decided to vote for the Republicans and they, quote, caved and went against their party. They should have went against their party from the beginning, and they should have said to Chuck Schumer, this is asinine and ridiculous. I thank you to their constituents for pressuring them to vote the right way. And that's breaking news. Now going into segment 1. So segment 1 is, again, a continuation of the government shutdown and how it will reopen tomorrow, God willing. Let's put up the first slide. So breaking. So the Senate has adjourned until 11 a.m. on Monday. This happened a couple days ago. Although multiple more votes are needed to reopen the government, Speaker Johnson is hoping to have the House vote by Wednesday, as I said in my breaking news. Until then, airport chaos continues and the government remains shut down. So so the airport will be a little bit chaotic for at least another week. So I know people are very nervous. I know I have friends that are traveling down to Florida. This is snowbird season. A lot of people are getting out of really cold areas like Ohio and Virginia and Maryland and New Jersey, New York, and they're going down to their beautiful homes in Florida, but they're getting delayed. Don't worry. You will get on that flight. You will get to your home, and you'll stay there for half the year, for 6 months out of the year. But again, President Trump worked with Speaker Johnson on this. President Trump worked with senators on this, Senate Republicans on this. Even he called Senate Democrats on this to get the government reopened. Let's put up the second slide. So again, this second slide is a continuation. Again, U.S. House aiming to vote to reopen the government by Wednesday, as I said in my breaking news. And the Senate has multiple steps remaining, but the big vote has been passed. So the big vote was those 8 Senate Democrats that crossed over to the Republican side. And then once once the House of Representatives, they vote tomorrow, then in a few days, hopefully Thursday or Friday, President Trump will have the power of the pen, and he will vote this legislation in, and our government will be reopened. And again, the blame doesn't go to President Trump. The blame goes to Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and those other Democrats. Let's put up the next slide. So these are the Democratic senators who voted against the A-state subsidies. And I love how it says, shame on you. I say shame on you for not voting with the Republicans sooner. I say shame on you for trying to go against the will of the people. Again, I thank the constituents of these states for putting the pressure on their senators and saying, you're ruining us, you're hurting us, we're suffering. And these were Democrat constituents that were begging and pleading for them to reopen the government, because I was working in Virginia today and I work in the DMV area, and people, they can't afford anything. And in the DMV area, that's where we have the highest ranking of federal government employees. they've been all furloughed. I have friends that work for the NSA. I have friends that work in the Pentagon and many other areas of the government, and they're freaking out. So Senator Tim Kaine and Dick Durbin and I can't even read the names, Shaheen and Jackie Rosen and Angus King and John Fetterman. We knew John Fetterman was going to vote to reopen the government, and I can't read the other name down there either. If you guys can read it, that's great, but I can't. My eyes aren't that great. So we have those those 8 Democrats. There's really 8 at the end of the day that voted with the Republicans to reopen the government. If you want to praise them, you can. I don't praise any of them because they should have done it sooner. John Fetterman was really the only one that was calling for the reopening of the government. So I give him a lot of credit. A lot of people think that John Fetterman should #Jexit the Democrat Party and become a Republican. I mean, support for Israel is very much of a Republican persona. I mean, he thinks a lot like a Republican. He does a lot of work with his Republican Senator, Dave McCormick. He strays away from all the liberalism and the socialism. He doesn't like the squad in the Democrat Party. And there's a lot of moderate Democrats that will be leaving the Democrat Party and #Jexiting and becoming Republican and voting Republican. And I see a lot of moderate Democrats that are going to be voting Republican in the general elections next year. That's the trajectory. And especially what happened on Tuesday with a Democrat socialist mayor, Zohran Mamdani, now becoming the mayor of New York City. And we have socialist Democrats in New Jersey. And we have socialist Democrats in Virginia now. People are pissed. People are so pissed that they're either going to switch their parties or they're going to vote Republican in the general. And hopefully we'll get some good people in office, especially on the local level, because as they say, politics is local. But this is also something that's breaking news. Let's see the next slide. President Trump plans to partially freeze the IRS for 90 days to conduct a fraud investigation. Thousands of positions will be on the chopping block. And if you're a taxpayer, this affects you more than you think. My question to my audience, what do they think about President Trump planning to partially freeze the IRS for 90 days? I think this is great. As you know, the IRS, a lot of them are very corrupt people in the IRS. Remember, Joe Biden added like 87,000 IRS agents? You don't want the IRS knocking on your door. And actually, the IRS, they never call you. People get scammed all the time. My father has clients that are like, the IRS called me. He's like, the IRS doesn't call you. That's a scam. So there's a lot of fraudulent things that happen in the IRS. My dad's actually a tax preparer for the IRS. So he knows. He knows about the activity that goes on behind the scenes. But a lot of these positions need to be chopped. A lot of people saying President Trump that the IRS should be demolished, should be obliterated. What are your thoughts and feelings to my audience? Do you think the IRS should be obliterated and demolished? A lot of people think they should be. But we need to know where our taxpayer dollars are going to. We need to know the fraud that goes on in the IRS. Remember, Elon Musk did a good job with Doge. He called out the waste, fraud, and abuse that was going on into that department and throughout, and all the money that we, the taxpayers, were paying to crazy stuff. Just crazy stuff. Wasting our taxpayer dollars. We're tired. We're tired of the IRS. We're tired of the federal government. We're tired of so many people wasting our taxpayer dollars. It's time for senators. It's time for congressmen to do for the will of the people. It's time for them to listen to their constituents, listen to what they have to say and their thoughts and feelings, and how we can help. I should say how the elected officials, how they can help their constituents. Because remember, they work for us, we don't work for them. So there was other news that the House was scheduled to vote at 4 p.m. today to reopen the government, but today was Veterans Day with the traffic, so I don't know how that could have happened. But it says that President Trump plans to be on standby in order to sign the bill into law, which will reopen the government as soon as the House passes the bill. So that is what's so important for this week. Again, we went through the longest government shutdown in the history of our nation, not Trump's fault. And I hope that next year we constituents hold these people to the fire. And we say, we've had enough. We're not voting for these idiots anymore. As you know, Dick Durbin's stepping down, Nancy Pelosi's retiring. The governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, he actually just came out and he's going to be running for re-election, 4th term. Good for him. He's been doing great down in Texas. And the president just endorsed him today. And we're having some really strong gubernatorial races coming up. We have Vivek Ramaswamy up in Ohio. President Trump just endorsed him the other day. And coming up after the break, we actually have a guest from Ohio. He's the current treasurer of Ohio. His name is Robert Sprague. He's running for the Ohio Secretary of State in 2026. So it'll be really interesting to hear his perspective. And when Vivek wins, because I believe he will win, how he and Vivek will work together in tandem. So before we bring on our next guest in segment 2, let's go to our affiliate sponsor, rncstore.com/ALL. Get the 10% off discount. More you spend, the more you get off. And this is great for the holidays, guys. You're eating that turkey, that ham. You're eating a lot of stuff for Christmas, and it's going to blow you. You're going to get heavy. And what is everybody's New Year's resolution? To lose weight. I'm actually in the process of losing weight because I have some very big events coming up in my life. So please, guys, go to rncstore.com/ALL. That's rncstore.com/ALL. Lose the weight now. Get your metabolism up. Get your immune system up. I know that it's getting cold in certain areas. It's like really cold in Maryland right now. I know it's freezing in Ohio. It's freezing in a lot of places. It's snowing in some places. And that makes you sick from all the change in the weather, going from 60 to 70 degrees down to 39 is a low, or sometimes 45 is a high. So if you want to help your immunity, you got to get these supplements. So go to rncstore.com/ALL, type in ALL, or you don't get the 10% off discount or 10% off discount. And stay with us, guys. We have a special guest coming up from Ohio. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did. Well, thanks, guys, for joining back with me. This is Alexandra Levine line with the America's Pulse Network. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, our Rumble, Parler, our X, as well as TikTok and True Social. That's at America's Pulse Network. Well, I had the pleasure of meeting this gentleman in Ohio at an event, and his name is Robert Sprague. He's the current treasurer of Ohio, an office he has held since 2018, and will be on the ballot for Ohio Secretary of State in 2026. I'm so glad to have him on. Let's bring him on.
Good evening, Alexandra.
Good evening. Thanks for being on tonight. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
So let's dive right into it. So right now, you're currently the treasurer of Ohio, which is awesome. Again, you've held that seat since 2018. And one of the biggest things I know in your platform is the Buckeye Business Advantage. So please explain that to our clients, to our viewers and constituents of Ohio.
Well, look, Alexandra, if they're in Ohio, they might be clients. I hope that they're able to use the program. But just before we get started, since today is Veterans Day, if it's all right, I just want to send a quick shout out to all of our veterans in the United States.
Of course.
And also to my son Cole. He's out at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and all the active duty men and women that serve our great country. They all write a check payable to the United States of America for up to and including everything, including their lives. And we appreciate what they do. And our program in the Treasurer's Office, it's called Buckeye Business Advantage, if I could tell you just a little bit about that, is really built upon this idea, which Donald Trump has, to return manufacturing and production back to the United States of America. And so we were trying to think in the state of Ohio, we're one of the highest manufacturing states in the United States. Almost 18% of our GDP, everything we produce as a state is manufacturing based. And we thought, well, if we're going to return production and jobs back to the United States, we want them to be able to come to Ohio and expand. And a lot of our manufacturers across the United States are not the big companies that you and I often think of, like General Motors or these large institutions. It's really small businesses. The vast majority are under 100 people. And so we are launching this brand new program. It's been open about 2 weeks now, called Buckeye Business Advantage. And we will help out with our $25 billion balance sheet here in the state of Ohio. Any Ohio domiciled business under 150 employees, and we will give them a 3% reduction on a 2-year loan up to $1 million in the state of Ohio to create jobs, bring production back to our great state, and help these small businesses expand again.
That's amazing. As you know, a lot of governors are thinking about getting rid of property taxes. Governor Ron DeSantis down in Florida, he's thinking of being like the first governor to get rid of property taxes. If Vivek, let's say he becomes governor, which I believe he will, are you hoping that he will get rid of property taxes in Ohio?
I'm hoping, first of all, that Vivek becomes governor because he's brilliant. He is curious. He's an outsider. He's an entrepreneur. He's done very well for himself, but he's coming back to our great state to do good. He's from Cincinnati. He's a
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnatian. And he's got tremendous leadership qualities. And he's talked a lot about the property taxes. And you're right, Alexandra, they're on everyone's mind. Why? Because the price of real estate has gone through the roof, and so have our property taxes. And what I hope that Vivek is able to do, and certainly working with the General Assembly and everyone else in Ohio, is at least able to lower the property taxes. And let me tell you why, because 100% of the property taxes in Ohio, I'm not sure how Florida is structured, but in Ohio, 100% of the property taxes stay local. So it goes to fund our local cities, our police officers, our police force, our firefighters, our schools, all those important services that you rely on as a citizen. It can't continue to the moon. We're going to have to cap it and make sure it only rises at the rate of inflation. But we need those services locally to have good quality of life in a lot of our communities. So I think Vivek is going to work hard to lower the property taxes in the state of Ohio and make sure that they don't shoot up and make things completely unaffordable for Americans.
I agree with you on that. One of the biggest things that's part of your platform as a treasurer and as a candidate is the cryptocurrency. You actually announced that your campaign takes Bitcoin, which is kind of cool because President Trump, he was starting to move into the Bitcoin thing when he became the nominee. And then when he finally ran, when he finally won, the big crypto guys were so happy, that he got involved. So explain, to my audience about the cryptocurrency, about the Bitcoin usage in Ohio, and why that's so important that you have Bitcoin as something that you can take as campaign donations.
Sure. I think it's really important, Alexander, just to step back for just a second and understand kind of what's happening in our economy. And it's the advent of this artificial intelligence.
Mhm.
The AI, all of a sudden, I realized that they're using the AI models to design the chips and make the silicon chips faster. And then the faster compute of the silicon chips is making the AI better. And this is all happening in a short period of time. We're talking about a matter of months, these cycles. And so the whole curve is becoming exponential. And the reason that's important for payments and the economy is because eventually these AI agents, in some cases on the accounting side, are going to actually remit payment. And they'll do so in dollars, but they'll also use digital assets in the future. Now, we could pretend like it's not going to happen or that we don't want it to happen, but this is a huge competition. And at the end of the day, a lot of these big companies like PayPal or Google or Microsoft, AWS, Meta, all of these companies want to have a piece of that payment structure. And
Mhm.
so in Ohio, we had a choice. We could either lag behind and be last to the economy, or we could step out and say, look, we're going to design this the right way. And if we lead, we have the ability to design the future for the people of the state of Ohio. And so that's what we've done. And on September 24th of this year, we authorized for the first time a payment transaction device for digital assets. And it's not as if people are going to rush in the door right now to sign up to use crypto or digital payments. But in the future, you can see where this is headed. And we want to make sure that we're part of the economy on a go forward basis and that Ohio is ready to do business this way. So we're making a secure payment platform. I got to tell you, just for your listeners that are in Ohio, we're only going to hold on to dollars. So that'll be converted immediately into dollars. We will hold United States dollars in the Treasury, but this enables that economic commerce to happen.
So going into what you said about artificial intelligence is I think that's what I call it supermarket to the world. And a lot of people are now going into vocational schools because they believe that there will be a job waiting for them with artificial intelligence. Is that something that's coming more into Ohio, that you will have more artificial jobs? So when people come out of vocational schools, they will have a job waiting for them?
I don't know about the vocational schools. I'll tell you, in Ohio, we are a maker and mover economy. We've got a
Mhm.
lot of biotech. We got great universities like Ohio State that do research, but
Mhm.
we're also very good at manufacturing. And
Mhm.
60% of the United States population is within a 1 hour, I'm sorry, 1 day, not 1 hour drive, a 1 day drive of the state of Ohio. And we have infrastructure that's rail and highways and water. We have a North Coast and Lake Erie. We have a south coast on the Ohio River. So we have size and scale and infrastructure that we enjoy that a lot of other places do not. I think that the artificial intelligence, whether you like it or not, is going to actually increase dramatically the productivity of all of us. And I think that'll happen in the manufacturing realm too. What we need to do is use the artificial intelligence to make ourselves more productive. And it's scary stuff because I think a lot of people are looking at it, hey, it may replace my job. I
Right.
think that we need to look at it in Ohio is how do we use it to enhance our productivity? We become really good at using it so that one person can do the work of two or three. Because I can tell you right now, when you talk to small businesses in Ohio, you know what their number one problem is? They can't
What?
hire enough people. They
Hmm.
cannot hire enough people. And so they're not going to fire people. I think what's going to happen is you're actually just going to see the product. They're just going to increase production.
Hmm.
And so we need to make sure that, our workers and our people in the state of Ohio are ready for this. And the only way to do that is to get into it and begin
Hmm.
experimenting with it and begin using it and learning it. And that's what I'm hoping that people will do.
I always say, like, who is going to be the ones that are going to fix the robots? It's we, the people. So they're going to need people to fix those robots, to fix the artificial intelligence. So I agree with you that there are going to be jobs, for people, that the robots and the AI is not going to take people's jobs away from them, because we need real people to fix those robots, to fix the AI. So I,
Not only that, but it's going to be these higher order thinking skills.
Mhm.
It's not just synthesis or getting huge amounts of data and plugging it into a spreadsheet and working for 12 hours on that. It's going to be what does the data mean and does that make sense? And if that data makes sense, what's the next step from a strategic
Exactly.
standpoint? And creativity and being able to make things still. And we got a lot of that in Ohio. Sorry, I'm talking about Ohio, but
No, it's
Ohio
fine. No, it's great.
treasure. And I think it applies to the rest of the country too.
No, of course. I also want to, shift to environmental issues, because people never felt the resolve of what happened in East Palestine, Ohio, with the oil spill and everything. Can you bring a little bit of light to that, or any additional information, that you've heard in regards to the resolution of all of that?
I'll tell you, a lot of people turn the other, they kind of turned away from it, from the people of East Palestine. One person that never did was J.D. Vance,
Yep.
our senator at the time and now Vice President of the United States of America. He was amazing. And I mean, he went there repeatedly. He showed how much he was interested and he did things about it
Yep. I
in
agree.
the Senate. And he deserves an enormous amount of credit for that. And he has never forgotten them. And it would have been so easy to walk away. And so, yes, we remember East Palestine. Those things are moving forward, but obviously there's still more to do there.
I know a lot of people are so nervous that something like that could happen in their hometown. That happened in Baltimore too, with Back River and so forth. So we always want to, know what's going on in that East Palestine, because we don't want a repetition of that in another area.
That's exactly right.
So now we're going to shift to your candidacy. So
Mhm.
what made you decide to run for Secretary of State?
Well, I'll tell you, the elections are under attack, and Donald Trump has repeatedly highlighted this. In
Mhm.
many states, the election integrity is under
Mhm.
question and it's under attack. And you see it across the United States. I'll tell you, we just had an interesting happenstance about 3 weeks ago that I picked up on the internet that happened in one state in the United States where a dog owner is now being charged with a felony because her dog voted twice in the elections. All right.
Oh my
Once in
god.
a recall election
Oh my
for, I
god.
think, Gavin Newsom, and the second in a primary.
That's
And, it's
unbelievable.
funny until you realize that the only reason they caught it was because she posted on social media the dog tag and a picture of the ballot that's filled out saying they're
Wow.
still sending Maya Jean her ballot.
Oh my gosh.
So you got to
Unbelievable.
question the integrity of the election system when you've got dogs that are able to vote and you're trying to catch it on the back end. Now, in Ohio, what we would like to do, and what I'm going to do as your next Secretary of State in Ohio, is make sure that we have front end citizenship verification. So, what that means is that when you go to register, we make sure that you're an American citizen who's qualified to vote in the state of Ohio as you register to vote there. And if you take care of the registration process and the registration list, the voter list, then that fraud downstream doesn't happen and it's not allowed to happen. So that's the first thing we need to do in our election integrity is to make sure that only American citizens can vote in our elections here in the United States.
Now, how will you be able to determine who's illegal and who's not illegal?
Well, this is where the Federal SAVE Act and the SAVE database comes in. The federal government has a unique perspective and they have unique information on who's a citizen and who's not a citizen. And so we will be able to use that partnership with the federal government under President Trump to be able to verify that citizenship in a way that only allows American citizens to register to vote in Ohio. Now, the second thing we need to do is after we register people the right way, is we need to move to all paper ballots in the state of Ohio for every election in every county in our state. Because
I
in
agree.
Ohio, we have local boards of elections. And by the way, we do elections right here. They do a phenomenal job at the local level. I got to praise our elections officials. They are
Mhm.
very, very good. But the reason we want to use paper ballots is because paper ballots give you a beautiful audit trail. And I used to work at Ernst and Young. I understand a little bit about this. And when you are able to go back and count the ballots, you're able to verify and you don't have to question whether or not what the machine said was true. You can go back and you can count the paper. So we're going to count the paper in the state of Ohio. And we're going to use a human count to make sure that the machines are never rigged in the state of Ohio and that we get a true reflection of the will of the people. So that's the second thing I want to do as Secretary of State. And then the final piece is right now in the state of Ohio, one of our greatest assets is that we do have bipartisan elections.
Mhm.
And the reason that's so important to having honest and fair elections is because when you have a Democrat and a Republican that are checking people in to vote and checking their voter ID in the state of Ohio, then you know that if you're the Democrat, that if the Republican is trying to commit fraud, you can say something. Or likewise, if you're the Republican and the Democrat is violating the rules, you can say something. And so it's not necessarily the cooperation between the two parties that makes the elections honest and fair. It's the it's the competition between the
Mhm.
two parties that makes the election fair. And so we are going to add a secondary audit, not just for accuracy of the elections in the state of Ohio, but an audit for that bipartisan chain of custody for your ballot when you vote. And only in that way can you make sure that the elections are honest and fair.
So do you believe in keeping the machines? Because one of the argument is that in the state of Ohio, and correct me if I'm wrong, you don't have Dominion and Smartmatic technology that are in some areas nationwide, that your machines are, because they're not owned by Dominion, they're a little bit more fair or more accurate than using the machines from Dominion. Is that correct?
I say you got to trust but verify. That's what Ronald Reagan said about the
True.
Russians, and it's the same approach I take to any machine. And I'll tell you, we always learn, and I used to implement IT systems for a living. And you
Mhm.
never wanted to be afraid of the information technology, but you had to master it. You had to
Mhm.
master it. And the way that you master it is you don't use technology by itself and trust it. That's certainly not what we do in the treasurer's office.
Mhm.
We make sure that we have people and processes that are used to double check everything that we do. We never trust the machines. And so
Right.
that's why the paper count is so important, and why paper is so important is that you cannot defraud the paper, you cannot rig the paper, and so you can double check what the machines are doing. And there's a big difference between also the type of machines that we're talking about, whether it's, voting on a screen, say,
Mhm.
or just a tabulation machine that simply is running the paper through and tabulating the same way that a person would, but faster. So I think
Right.
that there has to be a delineation between those two type of things. And we do it very well in Ohio, but we want to move to make sure that we have all paper and we're going to count the paper.
And do you also agree that it has to do with who counts the ballots? And maybe in certain areas in Ohio, and I know they did this in Texas very well, is they had like IT guys or data guys or veterans. Those were the people that were election judges. Those were the people that were at the polls. Maybe those type of people, instead of just like regular, Joe Schmo down the street, it has to be very high qualified people that know IT, that served our military, that are engineers. Those are the ones that can really make a difference in who's counting these ballots, in your opinion.
I think that our elections officials, they do a great job, but you're absolutely right. Who counts the ballots matters. And we want to make sure that there's no funny business going on and no fraud. And that at the end of the day is the goal. We want to make sure that people can trust the elections. Because
Correct.
if you can't trust the elections, our representative democracy just goes down the tube. You can't have a constitutional republic unless you're able to trust that the election's outcome is a reflection of the will of the people and that people have actually won those elections. And so you're absolutely right. We got to have good people that are able to count it. You want to have professionals, and you want to make sure the system isn't rigged. So it's a check and a balance.
Mhm. You also mentioned on your platform civics educations and voter list maintenance. Can you elaborate more on that?
Let me tell you, civics education is so important. So many times our young people are they're getting very limited civics education. And in some cases, they're being taught to not like our country or not appreciate our country, as opposed to love the United States of America. I mean, it's my belief that 250 years ago, the greatest document in the history of the world was written, except for the Bible. But the greatest man-made document written in the history of the world, the Constitution of the United States of America. And I'm looking forward to working with the next governor, Vivek Ramaswamy in Ohio, to reinstill civics education for our young people and in our schools. Some of the schools do a great job, but I think everybody could step up and do a much better job. Why? Because it's not just about teaching facts and figures. We can have kids memorize dates, but we all know that they can get that on the internet. What we're
Mhm.
really trying to teach here are critical thinking skills for our young people. And ultimately, that's what we need more of as a country, and a respect for the rule of law, the way that our government functions, and the way that it's been constructed in a way to ensure that our rights are protected. And we talk a lot about our elections and why they're important. One of the key things is that so many people think that their rights are protected by the courts. The court's job is to interpret the law.
Correct.
Ultimately, the way that you protect your rights is through the election system to be able to control your government. So these are the things that we want to make sure that our young people know about our country because they're our future.
I agree with you. One last question. Do you feel in your heart that the House of Representatives will codify President Trump's executive order to have paper ballots, election on the day, get rid of the early voting, get rid of the machines? Do you believe in your heart of hearts that that can happen in the future?
I absolutely believe in my heart of hearts that that can happen. Let me tell you, I'm looking forward to hearing the executive order for Donald Trump. We certainly don't want to get ahead of the president. He's got more facts, he's got better ideas, and so we want to see what he comes out with. But I'm looking forward to seeing this executive order and his plan to restore election integrity, not just for the state of Ohio, because I think we're well down that path, but for the entire United States of America.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for being on my show. Again, please tell us how we can find you, any upcoming events that's going on, how we can donate to your campaign.
Sure. You can go to www.spragueforohio.com and check out our website, and you get all that information there. So, Alexandra, thank you so very much for having me on the show. I really enjoyed it, and I hope to see you sometime back in Ohio soon.
Yeah, definitely. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. And before we go to our next segment, we just want to talk about our next affiliate sponsor, FoliumPX. There you go, FoliumPX.com. Toxic heavy metals, full body detox, free radical support. Don't forget, guys, again, we're going into Thanksgiving. We're going into Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, and everybody wants to lose weight after Thanksgiving, after Christmas, even before. As I told you, I'm in the process of losing weight because of all these events I've been invited to. So please, guys, go to FoliumPX.com, and get some heavy metals today. It's very good for your body. And please, guys, stay with us. We will be right back after the break.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Well, thanks, guys, for sticking with us. I just want to reiterate our wonderful guest that we had, Robert Sprague. He's running for Ohio Secretary of State in 2026. Please follow him at spragueforohio.com. We're also having another guy from Ohio on Thursday night. I'll be interviewing him. His name is Marcel. And it'll be nice to hear from Marcel as well, to hear the different men's perspectives on what they want to do as secretaries of state in Ohio. So turning to segment 3, Heritage Foundation crumble. Now, the Heritage Foundation was a big conservative foundation. A lot of conservative people were a part of the Heritage Foundation. But Heritage Foundation decided to support, or I should say the president of Heritage Foundation. His name, I don't know why. Oh, I didn't write it down. I should have. The Heritage Foundation president, he defended Tucker Carlson's interview with Nick Fuentes. And as we know, Nick Fuentes is a known anti-Semite, known racist, hates women. He's gay. He started the Groper movement, which is an anti-Semitic movement. And all of a sudden, the guy's got a platform, and now people say he's the heart of America first, like he's the new Charlie Kirk. Crazy. He's the total opposite of Charlie Kirk. Well, I want to play the video now of my friend Brian Ladd, because he was involved with the Heritage Foundation no longer. Let's hear what Brian Ladd has to say. Play the clip.
So he started this fire, and since then, Tracy, he's had just misstep after misstep. And, I want to make a really clear point here to the audience. Kevin Roberts has said now on several occasions that he didn't know what his friend Tucker Carlson has been doing for the last year. He didn't know who Nick Fuentes is. Now, listen, if I am a Michelin star chef, you better believe that I understand what's happening in the food industry. If I'm a 4-star general and I'm about to send my troops out to battle, I'm reading intelligence plans and I know who my enemy is. Are we really going to believe for half of a second when Kevin Roberts tells us that, oh, he doesn't watch the news, he just watches sports? He's the leader of the most influential conservative think tank in America. He is lying to all of us when he tells us that he didn't know what, again, his friend Tucker has been up to for the last year. So I've been very clear about this. I'm not looking to cancel Kevin. I wish him all the best, but he's made horrible decisions here, and he needs to step away. And if he's not going to step away, the Heritage Foundation needs to fire him, and they need to move on because they are in a downward spiral right now. I was with a bunch of Heritage Foundation employees just this week in Washington. They have no idea what the future of their foundation looks like right now, and it's very simple. It's because they refuse. Kevin Roberts refuses to condemn Tucker Carlson. It's a really big problem right now.
Yeah, we got to leave it right there. But Brian, thank you so much for coming on and speaking to us about this. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tracy.
And Brian Live is 100% correct. I mean, the Heritage Foundation is in disarray right now because Kevin Roberts didn't condemn what Tucker Carlson said. And the Heritage Foundation has a lot of Jewish donors. They have a lot of Jewish people that are part of the task force. And what did Kevin Roberts do? He caved to Tucker Carlson, who's a part of the task force. It's disgusting. And Tucker Carlson did not really combat anything that Nick Fuentes said. Nick Fuentes said he supports Stalin. He supports Hitler. Nick Fuentes has denied that the Holocaust even existed. That's why Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson are both very dangerous men. And the fact that they have big platforms and millions of people listen to Nick Fuentes, and even Megyn Kelly was like kissing Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson's butt. I mean, she brought Ben Shapiro on, and Ben Shapiro set the record straight. I mean, he said there's a reason why we couldn't allow Nick Fuentes to continue with the Daily Wire, and why we were nervous with him on Right Side Broadcasting Network, because he was spewing out anti-Semitic crap. And Nick Fuentes continues to go after Ben Shapiro for being Jewish, and went after Mark Levin for being Jewish. What does our ethnicity have to do with anything? What does Ben Shapiro being Jewish have to do with anything? Why do you have to throw it in there, Nick Fuentes? Well, Ben Shapiro, the Jew, Mark Levin, the Jew, the Zionist. Like I said a couple weeks ago, the word Zionist is not a bad word. To be a Zionist means you support Israel, means you support the Jewish people. If you are a Christian Zionist, you support Israel. And you support Jesus Christ, who was born in Israel, who was born a Jew, and who was circumcised a Jew, who was bar mitzvahed as a Jew, and who died as a Jew. And that's the truth. And it's funny, Tucker Carlson actually apologized for saying what he said, that being a Christian Zionist is like having brain cancer. It's a cancer, he said. You can't go back from that. And Ben Shapiro makes the point that Tucker Carlson vehemently attacked Senator Ted Cruz on his interview. And Senator Ted Cruz is a big supportive guy of Israel. He loves Israel. He loves Netanyahu. But when it comes to Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens, he gives them all a pass. And that's why people are pissed at Kevin Roberts. And that's why good names such as this next slide, my friend Stephen Moore. So my friend Stephen Moore, he said, after 12 and productive years, I have decided to resign my position as senior visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation in order to concentrate my workload on continuing to build up at Calm for Prosperity and the mounting influence of our daily hotline. As Ed Fuller would say, quote, onward. Well, the underlining meaning is the reason he left. No, we're not doing that slide yet. The reason that he left is because of the anti-Semitism that Nick Fuentes spewed out and Tucker Carlson allowed. And the reason he left was because the president, Kevin Roberts, he supported it. He defended his friend Tucker Carlson, wouldn't push back on it, wouldn't say, Tucker Carlson, you're done being on the task force. Tucker Carlson is involved with the Heritage Foundation. This is dangerous. Tucker Carlson is now a part of the Turning Point USA campus tour with Megyn Kelly. These are dangerous mother effing people. I'm tired of it. I am tired of it. And people are like, well, you shouldn't be calling for the canceling of Nick Fuentes. There's a difference, again, between freedom of speech and hate speech. Nick Fuentes will tell you he's spewing out free speech all day and all night, but he's not. He's called for the genocide of Jews. He has called for the genocide of blacks. He put up a gay porno on one of his shows in 2014. I mean, there's young kids that watch his show. And now he's got millions of viewers. The only reason why he went on Tucker Carlson was to build up his platform, because I knew the minute that Charlie Kirk was murdered that these alt-right idiots would come out of the woodwork and infiltrate Turning Point and try to get bigger clicks and more money and make their names bigger. That's what Tucker Carlson is doing too. Because again, all these people had lots of money. They worked for Fox News, and when Fox News fired them and ABC News fired them and CNN fired them, they weren't making as much money as they were before. So now they're trying to build their platform up again. And they're like, oh, how am I going to build up the platform? Oh, let's attack the Jews. Let's do something that is popular to a certain group of people. Let's get involved with Qatar, with the terrorists that are a part of Qatar. Let's get paid by the Qatari government like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are. And President Trump actually called out Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday and said, I don't know where the hell she's coming from. I don't know why she's attacking me. And then she pushed back today and she says, I don't not like Donald Trump. I'm pissed at Congress. No, she attacks Donald Trump too. And she spews out all this crap about how we're supporting Israel first before America. And President Trump can't make a move without Netanyahu. And Netanyahu's controlling America. Prime ministers have always controlled America. Israel's always controlled America. That is such BS. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of the conspiracy theories. I'm so tired of the bullshit. Please, guys, read between the lines. Read beyond the corruption. It's not a horrible thing to be a Zionist. It's not a horrible thing to open up businesses in Israel and support Israel. You're not going against America. People are like, oh, Ben Shapiro is all about Israel first. He puts his religion first before the country. He just happens to be an observant Jew. There's nothing wrong with that. And we're going to see more and more young people becoming more observant in Judaism and in Christianity. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's when you become like a religious crazy. That's where you turn people off. But Ben Shapiro is a Jewish man of reason. I've met Ben Shapiro. I've talked with him. He doesn't say, you need to do this and you need to be this. And if you don't do this, you're not a good Jew. He's not like that. But that's what Nick Fuentes is. If you're not this, you're not America first. If you don't say you hate the Jews, you're not America first. If you don't say you hate Israel, you're not America first. If you don't say stop giving money to Israel, you're not America first. That is Nick Fuentes, and that is his message, and that's always been his message. I'm a Jewish American, and I have to apologize for these morons, and I'm tired of it. Listening to Nick Fuentes is not the right way to live. Listening to Nick Fuentes is the wrong mindset. The guy is delusional. The guy has an agenda to hurt anybody that doesn't support him and to hurt anybody that supports Jews and blacks and women. That's why he's not married. That's why he can't get a woman. First of all, he's gay. But second of all, he pisses all the women off because of his stupidity. He's an ignoramus. He's a moron. He said horrible things about Jews. That Jews don't want to mix their seed with non-Jews. That Jews consider Christian sperm awful and disgusting and unclean. He makes all that up. We don't discriminate. And we don't proselytize. That's not what Jews do. We blend in with society. That's what it says in the Torah. We do not stand out. We're not supposed to stand out. We're supposed to blend in with society and be open-minded to other religions and other beliefs and teach other people about our religion and about our beliefs. Not segregation. A lot of people say, well, the Jews segregated themselves in Nazi Germany. That's why they were murdered, because they segregated themselves. No, that's not true. Hitler was very jealous of them because they were successful. Because they knew how to run businesses. But who did they serve the businesses to? They didn't just serve to Jews. They catered to non-Jews as well. That's the stories that you people don't know. That's the stories that Nick Fuentes doesn't tell you. But I can tell you the truth. Listen to me. Listen to our network more. Don't give a Nick Fuentes millions and millions of views. He's a moron. Ignoramus. Don't give Tucker Carlson millions and millions of views. He's another ignoramus moron. They're all bought and paid for. Our network is not bought and paid for. We're independent. Nobody buys me off. I'm my own person. But there's so many people that have left the Heritage Foundation, such as Brian Leib, who's Jewish, Joel Griffiths, who's Jewish, Michelle Bachmann, who was a senator of Minnesota. Or was she? She might have been a congresswoman. But she was a lawmaker in Minnesota. Great lawmaker, by the way, and she loves Israel and loves the Jews. And her husband's very well to do. And a lot of big names have left the Heritage Foundation, like Stephen Moore. And then you have this crap going on, this meme. We'll show the Kim Kardashian meme. Let's play it. So it says, Kim Kardashian, American entrepreneur, Zionist, opening 15 stores across the genocidal terrorist state of Israel by 2026 in partnership with Factory 54, track Zionist. Look at that propaganda BS. See, they put the word Zionist in bold like it's a curse word. They say that Israel is a genocidal terrorist state. Really? Really? What the hell's been going on in Gaza for years, since 2005? What the hell's been going on in Syria and Lebanon and Iran and Afghanistan? Israel is a genocidal terrorist state? From what I recall on October 7th, you had genocidal terrorist maniacs named Hamas that came over to the border of Israel and murdered, burned, tortured, and raped 1,200 innocent people. That weren't just all Jews, by the way. There was Christians involved. There was Buddhists involved. Anybody that was of faith, they murdered, killed, tortured, and raped. So to go after Kim Kardashian for opening up stores in Israel is disgusting. And to call Israel a genocidal terrorist state is asinine propaganda that Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson push every day. It's not true. I advise people to go to Israel. It's not a terrorist genocidal state. I've lived there. I felt safer living there than New York City. And let me tell you something, New York City is going to become a genocidal terrorist city because you have a genocidal terrorist as the mayor now. He'll be inaugurated in January. He's an Islamic jihadist. Calls for global intifada. He's already said that Jewish business owners are not wanted in New York City. Already trying to hurt the New York Stock Exchange there. People are leaving New York City before the man gets inaugurated because they're afraid of what's going to happen if they stay. They're all coming down to Florida and Texas and getting the hell out of New York because they've had enough. The state of New Jersey is not going to be the same. The state of Virginia won't be the same. But New York City is going to become a genocidal terrorist city under Zohran Mandami. The audacity of these people to go after Kim Kardashian, whose now it's stepmother, whatever, Caitlyn Jenner, is a big supporter of Israel and the Jews. And I applaud any musician, any artist, any band that goes and performs in Tel Aviv and Yerushalayim Shezachav, Jerusalem of Gold. Because it shows that they're not afraid, and it shows that they are tired of the BS too. I encourage everybody to go to Israel. I encourage everybody to open up a business there. I was in Israel when Kim Kardashian opened up huge clothing and makeup lines there. It was called Dash with her sisters. It was fabulous. I support Kim Kardashian opening up stores in Israel, and I will buy her gear. I support her now. I buy her sister's perfumes. Khloe Kardashian has a nice perfume at Ulta. Kylie Jenner has her cosmetic line and perfumes. I buy all that stuff. I'll support them. They support Israel. I support them. They have my business. But for that propaganda meme to be floating, that Kim Kardashian is a, quote, Zionist, which is a good thing, but she's opening up stores in a genocidal terrorist state called Israel. To my viewers, do you really think that Israel is a genocidal terrorist state? Is the word Zionist a bad word? Is Zionism the same as racism? Is Zionism the same as Islamophobia, homophobia? Is Zionism the same as being an anti-Semite? When you use the word Zionist, it's not a bad word. But Nick Fuentes uses it as like it's the devil. Like being a Zionist is being a Satan, or is being Satan. We have to understand what the word Zionism means, what being a Zionist is all about. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's not a curse word. It's a good word. So if you are one of those people that supports Israel and wants to open up your business there, I will support you. I will promote you. I will buy your stuff. Because I love to shop. I was just shopping at Sephora today. I shop at all the stores. I shop at Ulta when they have good sales. I shop at Macy's, Nordstrom's, Neiman Marcus, Bloomingdale's. You name them, I got a credit card, I go there. Saks, that's my store. You support Israel, I support you. And it's not bad to be a Zionist. You call that loud and proud. I applaud these people for calling out Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, for getting away from the crap and not being associated with sociopaths. And before we leave our show, we are continuing with Candidate Forum Hour. As you know, my show has personally endorsed Tim Fazenbaker for Baltimore County Council District 9. It is the new Councilmatic District. It is an America First MAGA district. He is the only one so far that has come out and said, I'm running, and he's the one that's going to win. Now, the party is trying to push a rhino in there, and it ain't going to work. The guy that they're pushing, I'm not saying his name, but he's a Trump hater, Pete Buttigieg supporter. He also loves Governor Westmore, Larry Hogan, all the rhinos in Maryland. He loves Senator Chris Van Hollen and Congressman Johnny Olszewski. These are all Democrat socialists. That's who they want to go up against him in a MAGA America First district. And we ain't going to allow it, and we ain't going to have it. And everybody wants Tim in there. Everybody knows that he's going to make a difference and make a change. And let me tell you something. He was at a veterans event today. Him and Delegate Bob Long were there. And the Rhino Republicans, Sailing, Metzger, they weren't there. And this guy Urbach, we call him Little Jeb Urbach, he wasn't there either. So that shows you who is the real conservative, who is the real MAGA guy, America First, who's the guy that really gives a crap about his district and his community and his state, and that is Tim Fazenbaker. Please, guys, go to timfazenbaker.com. Give him a donation. Everybody's been pouring money into him. They love him. Everyone he meets, they love him. He does so much. He's a caring human being. I've had the pleasure of working with him for 6 years, and I will continue to work with him when he becomes the next councilmatic, but we need to get him in there. If he wins the primary, he wins the whole thing. So the primary is so important for him. So please, guys, go to timfazenbaker.com. That's TIMFAZENBAKER.com. And the next person that my network has fully endorsed is my friend Kimberly Stansberry, who's running for Baltimore County Executive. Let me tell you something. She was at the Baltimore County Republican Central Committee meeting last night with her opponent, Pat Dyer, and she nailed it. She was on fire. She knows the issues. She knows the role. The guy has no clue. The guy lied and said that he was self-funding his campaign at a fundraiser that he gave with former Governor Bob Ehrlich. And then when I questioned him publicly and personally and privately, I'm like, are you self-funding your campaign? He says, no. I said, well, how are you raising $1.6 million? He had no clue. Then he says to me, I don't even know if I should be raising $1.6 million. I don't know how to raise $1.6 million. Maybe I shouldn't even be in the race, period. I don't even think I should run at this point. And I said, you know what? That sounds like a pretty good idea, because he knows he's going to lose, because he thinks that the party is going to all of a sudden magically give him $1.6 million, which is not going to happen. You do not need $1.6 million to become a Baltimore County councilman or to run for Baltimore County, Baltimore County executive. And the guy and the people that he works with are total liars. They're going to lie and say that he's raised this much and that much. But guess what? February is the campaign finance report. So we'll see in February of next year if Mr. Dyer raised $1.6 million. Let me tell you something. People are giving money to Kimberly Stansberry. They want her in. Her husband served our nation. He died after she won after the primary in 2022. And we honor him, and we will continue to honor him. He was a great man. He served in Vietnam. But she wants to help our veterans. She wants to help the community. She wants to help the people of Baltimore County. She is the one that will win, and she is the one that knows her position and knows the role. So please, guys, go to electkimstansberry.org. That's electkimstansberry.org. And of course, don't forget about our friend Seth. We are always doing his campaign, the GoFundMe, for his poor foot that he almost lost. Let's put that up there. There we go. Help Jonah Eisenberg overcome health crisis. We've raised over $6,600 for him. The goal is $10K. The final goal is $100K. We need to get him over the hump. The guy's been in the hospital twice, almost lost his foot twice. He's got a 16-year-old son to support. He's got a house mortgage to pay off. He's got a lot of bills that need to be paid, and we need to get back to him. He is a veteran. We thank him for his service. He served in the Navy. Happy Veterans Day to Seth Eisenberg. But please, guys, go to GoFundMe.com/health/crisis. Please give $100, $200, $500, whatever you can give. Average donations between $150 to $200. We need to get this guy and to his goal and get him up on his feet, because we love Seth Eisenberg on the conservative corner, and we want to help him out as much as possible. And don't forget, guys, tomorrow night is The Pulse from 8 to 9 p.m. with a 5-people panel. You don't know who's going to be on. You don't know what I'll be wearing. I think Seth is moderating tomorrow night. If not, it'll be Damon Galdo. But Elena Barber from The Base Mother will be there, and we'll have some special guests. So please, guys, tune in to The Pulse tomorrow night from 8 to 9 p.m. Don't forget my show Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. I will have another special guest from Ohio, and it's going to be great to hear his perspective on things. And don't forget, we have the Conservative Corner every Sunday night from 7 to 8:30 p.m. That's with Seth Eisenberg from 7 to 8:30 p.m. You can follow him on Facebook at the Conservative Corner and at X on Conservative Seth. And also, don't forget the Jersey Shore with our good friend Damon Galdo every Monday night from 8 to 9 p.m. and Friday night from 8 to 9 p.m. You can follow Damon Galdo at Damon Galdo on Facebook, at X, Damon Galdo. And Damon Galdo is running for Congress next year, so we want to fully support him and endorse him and give money to his campaign. And we will put out that website when that comes. But we want to support our friend and our colleague Damon Galdo for Congress as much as possible. And again, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our network. We are growing every single week. This has been such an amazing run. We've only just started in March, and we're just kicking butt. We haven't even reached a year yet, and we are kicking butt. So don't forget to follow us on America's Pulse Network on X, on Truth Social, on YouTube, on Rumble, on Parler, and on TikTok. We're on like 6 platforms. And of course, don't forget to follow me, Alexandra Levine, on Facebook at Alexandra Levi20, on X at ARLevine85, on Instagram and True Social and TikTok and Parler and Instagram. I'm everywhere. I'm all over the place. I'm very accessible, Alexandra Levine. Thank you guys so much. Again, happy Veterans Day. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up, because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.